exams and disrupted education. Almost a third of students in England and Wales got the highest marks, rising to 40% in Northern Ireland. But the gap in outcomes has widened between state and private schools. Throughout the pandemic, we've been speaking to the students and staff of one secondary school in Leicester. Our Home Affairs correspondent, Darshana Soni, returned to see how its GCSE pupils have got on.
8, 9.
I got a 9 for chemistry, let's go.
Yeah, same. Bloody hell. I got a 9 for computing.
And for
Swear down, I got a 9 for computing.
The excitement of having done better than you'd hoped.
9, a 7. I bought an RE.
Was it better than you thought?
Yeah, it's a nice surprise.
How are you feeling?
I just feel like all the hard work we've done over the years has just paid off in this result, and yeah.
It's so relieving, like when you open it.
A relief not just for Rishi and his friends, but for their parents who are waiting nervously outside.
Don't cry again. Oh my God.
We've been following this academy in Leicester throughout the pandemic. This year, there's been another rise in GCSE results. In England, Wales and Northern Ireland, those getting grades 7 and above, the equivalent of A's and A stars, is nearly 30%, compared to 26% last year. Although it's a record, it's well below the rise seen in A-level grades earlier this week.
I got an 8 in literature. Oh my, I got an 8 in literature and an 8 in drama.
Grades that mean even more to Viante Sodu, given the struggles she faced during the pandemic.
You struggled with your mental health during lockdown.
The pandemic was hard. I struggled with my mental health a lot. It was just the whole concept of being at home every day and like just that isolation was quite difficult.
Her friend Tia was getting her BTEC results. Like so many others, Tia didn't have a laptop in lockdown and had to borrow one from the school.
My teachers helped me and supported me a lot.
What did you struggle with?
I struggle with just staying focused at home because there's like a lot of distractions around me.
Really, really good. Absolutely smashed it. I can't believe it.
Sharing their joy, head teacher Gulbanu Kader. She's had to steer her students through the disruption and disorder of COVID.
It is a celebration of the nation's teachers and leaders and the extraordinary work that they've done over the last 18 months, and the celebration of our students. They have worked so hard.
The exams will not take place as planned in May and June.
What?
This was the moment Mrs. Kader learnt of the first lockdown. Last year, the government replaced exams with a controversial algorithm which had to be scrapped. This year, grades were assessed by teachers, but schools were only given 12 weeks to prepare.
Personally, I prefer to go back to exams. I think it's a problem having teacher assessment where one school might be assessing differently to another school. There was no moderation or standardisation across the nation to make sure that a grade 9 in this school is the same as a grade 9 evidence folder in another school.
3, 2, 1 and go!
The schools minister says exams will be back in England next year, with adjustments to make them fairer. This after today's results show again private schools and grammars are outperforming comprehensives.
A huge relief for many of the students here. They've had both years of their GCSEs disrupted by COVID with lockdown lessons and learning. Last year, they missed 14 weeks of face-to-face teaching. This year, it was 8 weeks. That's according to analysis by the Labour Party. And children in the north lost a week more of classroom teaching than children in the south.
What I want to see is a first-class education for every child, whoever they are and wherever they come from. What we've seen today is baked-in inequality. The gap between those going to private schools and going to state schools has got bigger.
Back at Rushy Mead, time for Anjali to let her parents know how she's done.
Oh my God!
It's brilliant. I can't believe it.
The Education Secretary faces questions about his policies in the pandemic, but today, time to celebrate for the teenagers who have struggled through it.
Darshana Soni. Well, earlier I was speaking to the Education Minister, Gillian Keegan, and I began by asking